All right. Football is on TV. Hot blonde chicks are getting special treatment for being hot blonde chicks. And Hollywood is punishing itself for not having enough diversity to satisfy the wokenistas in Hollywood, evidently. Maybe, just maybe, America is getting back to normal. We're getting out the rectal thermometer and taking the temperature of the nation. It's a fresh episode of the Savage Sack Tap, and it starts right now.
You're listening to the Savage Sack Tap. It's not a podcast, it's not a half-cast, it's just a quick shot to the balls to help you finish off the week. We're cutting through the bullshit, filling your Friday with rage-fueled logic, and cracking a few jokes along the way. So grab a bag of frozen peas. There's a Savage Sack Tap coming your way.
Smooth, lascivious, salacious, outrageous.
This is where we put the show open. All right, let me scroll down here. You're going to have to bear with me a little bit this week. I'm testing out a new setup, so if you're watching on the live stream, things might look a little, well, let's be honest. If you've watched on the live stream here before, you have seen things look completely fucked up since day one. So, not too much of a change, but we are fiddling with some things. I have a nice HD camera running over there, so I'm going to start working on some video stuff, and I'm going off the laptop with the notes, so I don't have to fucking scribble shit in a notebook. I no longer have to put pen to paper, so we got all sorts of shit going on. Welcome to the Savage Sack Tap. I am Mike Montone. Before we do anything, I was supposed to do this episode like Thursday or so, but I ran into a bunch of personal commitments. So this was not part of the prep, and frankly, it's not a political show, so I don't really give too much of a shit. But Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away last night. So my only comments at this point on the subject are, the next 2 months are going to be just absolutely fucking hilarious, because you know they're going to be screaming at each other. Remember Kavanaugh? If you thought the Kavanaugh hearings were bad or entertaining or whatever word you'd like to use for them, the hearings to replace this old coot are going to be even better. And what was the other? Oh yeah, that's right. I got home last night and I popped on. I popped on the news, as I am wont to do, and there were people who no shit showed up at the Supreme Court in the middle of the night to mourn Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I really, whatever you she was, obviously you see the videos of her like doing fucking planks and working out and stuff. She was definitely a little savage, but I can't imagine for any of my heroes dropping everything on a Friday night to go mourn outside of the Supreme Court. So those people are just complete fucking assholes. If you did that, you are just a huge douche. But again, not a politics show, so not really. If you do want to hear me talk politics, I co-host another show with James Flippin. He over on Radio Misfits, and he's a big politics guy, so we get into it there once in a while. But I was honestly, for me, last week was all about the return of the NFL. I was very happy to see football return. I know there were a lot of people who were like fucking rooting against football coming back, and my friends in the lamestream media will deny that, but it's totally true. That's going to be, I'm going to touch on that next week a little bit, because that psycho Christine Brennan from USA Today wrote a little article on it, and it eventually led to me getting blocked by her on Twitter. But I have a few other things about the first week in the league, as it were, that went down. A very sloppy opening to the season. Probably because there was no preseason. I know people are like, hey, they play too many preseason games, too much of this, too much of that. But you understand like what it takes to get an offense to function efficiently. and like how to plan for games and getting looks at teams on film and getting your young guys getting some reps. Like the Cowboys had an undrafted free agent playing right tackle, and he did okay, and then at the end of the game, some critical moments, he got his ass kicked. I think I saw 3 different quarterbacks take delay of game penalties. So there's the lack of preseason games pretty evident. I thought, and again, it's to be expected. It'll smooth out. I would say the level of play will probably ratchet up around week 3 or so. But of course, you will see a lot of people on social media. They're writing shit. Oh, fucking Brady fucking sucks. Brady ain't shit outside of, and it's just like, shut the fuck up. Really? What are you, a fucking moron? NFL fans are just, some of them are just such complete fucking idiots. It isn't even fair, because it's a lot of guys who never played football at all, or maybe they were like on the fucking JV team in high school, so they only really understand the game through like fantasy and video games, and then you figure that on Sunday when they're watching the game, they get so fucking piss drunk that they're not even totally cognizant of what's happening on the field. So what winds up happening is that they just, their team loses, and they blame the quarterback and the head coach because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. There is nothing I cannot stand more than a sports fan with a hot take. The hot takers drive me fucking insane, and there was no shortage of hot takes this week. As the NFL, I think, is probably the biggest hot take sport. I don't know if you saw this Maria Taylor thing. I guess she's the sideline reporter for Monday Night Football, and there was a little social media kerfuffle between her and this Chicago radio host Dan McNeil of Chicago's 670 The Score. He sent out a tweet about Maria Taylor, and I guess she was wearing this black leather jacket. It was like low cut and kind of showing off her tits, and he tweeted, "NFL sideline reporter or a host for the AVN annual awards presentation?" Which, what a gas. No, it wasn't an AVN outfit. It was just one of those. Have you ever seen a woman wearing something and you're like, oh, women dress like complete fucking idiots sometimes. Like, in the name of people who do things in the name of fashion always wind up dressed like complete fucking assholes. Like, I saw this one jerk off in a meeting one day, because I work in one of those, it's one of those hip millennial offices where they have the big glass things, you can see everything that's going on inside of every conference room, and I saw some jerk off wearing a fucking blazer and a scarf inside, and I wanted to fucking punch him in the face. So yeah, people who try to dress in like it's fashionable and it's hip, you always it doesn't matter how good you think you look, you always come off looking like a complete asshole. And I think that's what Mr. McNeil was trying to say with that little dad joke there. And frankly, I mean, she looked hot because it was showing off. It was like kind of showing off her tits, but the jacket was just absolutely absurd. Like I said, it was a leather jacket cut off mid-arm. She looked like she was dressed as a sexy Michael Jackson for Halloween. And frankly, if I got molested by that Michael Jackson as a boy, I probably wouldn't mind. But yeah, so this McNeil guy gets fired because he made a fucking dad joke, which is all it is. Some guy fucking, you can just picture it, some fucking guy with a beer belly and like a kind of bristly mustache sitting in his den drinking a Miller High Life, getting ready to watch some Monday Night Football, and he sees she looks like she's getting ready to go to the porn awards, and like he thinks it's hilarious. So of course, stupid fucking ESPN radio releases this statement and says, "It's degrading and humiliating to a fellow female. It's degrading and humiliating tone to a fellow female broadcaster was unacceptable." And frankly, I think that's completely fucking ridiculous. Yes, it was a shitty cornball dad joke, right? terrible. We can all agree that the joke fucking sucked. That's fine. You're allowed to make a fucking jerky joke. But if you've ever watched like an NFL pregame show or especially the NBA on TNT, all these guys do is make fun of each other. And then that's like a big piece of sort of the sideshow of sports, I think. If you watch an NFL, like they all wear ridiculous suits. They're all pointing at each other and making fun of each other. And this is why these social justice assholes just they ruin everything. Sports, you got to talk a little bit of shit when sports are going on, right? It's not harassment. I think we can all tell the difference between like harassment and a little shit talk. But ever since, like, hey, look, it's like Keith Hernandez says, I'm not telling them to stay in the kitchen, but they don't belong in the clubhouse. But ever since we started letting broads into the locker room, we have to put up with this kind of fucking garbage. Here's ESPN's Ellie Duncan responding to it. Here was her comment. Imagine just crushing your first Monday Night Football gig and having a senior-age man comment on your outfit as his biggest takeaway, followed by a clown emoji, as if to say, this guy's a clown. Which, I guess he's a little bit of a clown for making a shitty joke, and he's on ESPN radio in Chicago, which is, probably not the pinnacle of career achievement. But it's not a fucking high school musical, all right? Nobody cares if you crushed it, all right? It's sports. And first of all, no sideline reporter has ever crushed it. Unless Tony Siragusa sat on you, no sideline reporter has ever crushed anything. Literally, your job as the sideline reporter is just to be like, that's a little breezy down here today, Todd. Could affect field goal kicking and the passing game. And back to you in the studio. We're about 5 minutes from kickoff. And then at halftime, you go up to the coach and you say, hey, coach, bit of a rough first half there. Any adjustments you're planning in the locker room at halftime? That's it. That's what we want out of the sideline reporter. We don't give a fuck if you crushed it, girl. It's not a big feminist moment. Just deliver us the fucking football information and wear a less stupid jacket, all right? That's how sports work, all right? Wear a less ridiculous jacket on the sideline and you won't get made fun of. If you dress like an asshole, you're going to get mocked a little bit by people on Twitter. That is equality, all right? If you're getting made fun of for your jacket and not your gender, congratulations, you have reached full equality. Great day for the USA, in my opinion. What was the next quote that annoyed the shit out of me? Here we go. Just another example of what women have to go through in this business. Huge accomplishment for Maria to be part of the Monday Night Football team tonight. And here comes an asshole trying to undermine a big moment in her career. That was from Jamel Hill, ESPN's resident race baiter, Jamel Hill. Thank God she weighed in. Where would we be without Jamel Hill calling this guy an asshole? And it's one of those, I guess, takes one to know one situations, because frankly, I think Jamel Hill is one of the biggest assholes in sports media. Here we go. Next. Oh, Maria did, she clapped back. What a proud black woman. Well, Danny dearest, if you would like to continue making sexist comments about me, please bring your misogyny with you to the NBA Countdown doubleheader I'll be hosting tomorrow night. Hey, ladies, remember, you can wear whatever you feel confident in. That was what Maria Taylor said. Sorry, I got a little distracted reading the quote there. I had an alert pop up on my phone. People should know not to text me while I'm in my live streaming times. Although I guess I could put it on Do Not Disturb mode. But that's neither here nor there. Everyone can suck my ass. And Maria Taylor she's retweeting people who shared messages of support. And they're making this big feminism thing. And everyone's tweeting her with these more of these "you go girl" messages. Again, this is why nobody wanted chicks involved with football to fucking begin with. Like, how thin-skinned can you be? That's what this is. This is thin skin. That's all this is. You got made fun of, you got goofed on a little bit because you were wearing a stupid jacket. Football is the ultimate toughness sport. It is, the entire thing is just shit-talking and violence. So a guy making fun of your jacket is sort of de rigueur, as they say. If you want to look at the history, the relatively recent history of the NFL, there are fan bases who have developed a reputation for throwing ice balls at the opposing team. I remember when I was I think it was in middle school, the Chargers were playing at the Giants, and there was snow in the. There had just been a blizzard, so there were just piles of. They did their best to clear the snow from the stands, but there's still these piles of snow there, and Giants fans were fucking pelting guys on the Chargers with ice balls. In Philadelphia, they booed Santa Claus and they cheered when Michael Irvin broke his neck. Okay? This is the baseline for the sport of professional football. So if you wear an absurd looking jacket and you're on national TV with it, then you have to expect to get ribbed for it, right? It isn't sexist. You just look like a buffoon, so you got roasted. Poorly roasted, but roasted nonetheless. So I'm going to be the one with the hot take here to say that your reaction and everyone else's reaction who fucking went off about this was way out of line, and that a guy shouldn't have lost his job over a kind of a fucking cornball joke. But it's 2020. Everything becomes a cause célèbre these days. Women are perpetual fucking victims. Yada yada yada. Bullshit. Right. All that we hear about how tough women are. Girl power, strong women. But you can't take a fucking joke about your shitty jacket. Suck my ass. Get off the fucking TV screen. Then you're in the wrong industry. I don't know what to fucking tell you. You know how many people... I run a shitty podcast, and I'm a producer on a radio show, and people say fucking mean things about me on Twitter. I don't fucking... What do you... Just fucking deal with it. Jesus. What a fucking asshole. But I expect those kind of responses from sort of the mainstream media, because that's just the way we do things these days. I don't... The fucking... Alright, this is what drives me. The radio station says the joke is degrading, humiliating, and unacceptable. So, what we're saying, I think it's even more degrading and humiliating to say that the joke is degrading and humiliating because it infantilizes women and it presupposes that they can't take a joke, right? This is a sport where Ronnie Lott asked if he could have a finger amputated after he broke it because he didn't want to miss time from football while he was recovering from a fracture. Like, that's how this sport works. So, fucking ESPN Radio Chicago and Maria Taylor and anyone who fucking simped and white knighted and gotten ladies getting formation, anyone who did that, they're the ones who are in the fucking wrong, alright? Here's how I think the interaction should have played out. So this fucking McNeil guy sees it, and he fucking shares it on Twitter, where it's like, boy, she looks like she's dressed for the AVN Awards. And then Maria can just clap back, and she'd be like, how would you know? You ain't packing nearly enough meat to get into the AVNs, broke-ass peck of wood. That's how it should have gone down. But instead, everyone just simped for her like an asshole. And I was getting to this before, but I expect it from the mainstream media because that's just kind of what those jerk-offs do these days. What really bothered me was the responses from a website that I hold quite dear, that I read every day and generally enjoy their content. But the commenters and bloggers on Barstool Sports, their response was disconcerting, to say the least. One of their writers, this guy Jack Mack, said that McNeil got dunked on by Taylor in her response, but frankly, it just looked like she was throwing an emotional shit fit over a joke. She wrote a fucking paragraph, right? That's not dunking. No one got dunked on. She just acted like a stereotypical kind of angry girlfriend. She got a little Karen. She got a little Karen-y. But fucking Barstool, the commenters, Sorry, folks. It's allergy season. I've been working out with the stupid fucking mask on. I'm breathing in all sorts of bacteria. I'm a little verklempt, a little backed up. Not good. I don't like it. I do not have corona though. That's good. Instead, their commenters are all acting like a bunch of fucking pussies. I pulled up a couple of their comments that really got me riled. One guy says, "I'm not a fan of cancel culture. That said, this comment was way out of bounds in my opinion. Talking about a fellow media member that way is like talking to a coworker that way. It's not done." And I read that, and what popped into my mind were the words, "Shut the fuck up, pussy." A fellow media member? Really? It's a fucking sports guy cracking a little dad joke about a sideline reporter, alright? This isn't a war correspondent being held by the Islamic State with a kebab knife up to her neck in the middle of a desert wearing a fucking orange jumpsuit, alright? She's a fucking sideline reporter dressed like an asshole on Monday Night Football, so he made a little wisecrack. And then this jerk-off tags his comment with, "It's not done." Fuck you, you fucking bitch. What a pussy. Whoever this is, I want to find him. I want to go in a time machine back to his fucking high school and just stuff him in a fucking locker. Next. How dumb do you have to be to tweet that out in 2020? Here's what you have to be. You have to be a sports guy who cares about sports, and he's probably way too worried about the wild card race to acknowledge the plight of women in sports media, or whatever the fuck else. And I will say this, in this commenter's defense, this might have just been a kind of, maybe he's looking at it through the lens of, well, look, it's the year 2020, everyone's a complete fucking bitch and a whiny cunt about everything. If you're a sports media personality, you should know better than to tweet a joke because someone's probably going to get really mad about it. If that is what he meant by that and he just delivered the thought poorly, then I understand. But if you're doing it in a condescending manner, then you can lick the underside of my ball sack after I take a big steamy shit and don't wipe. What else? Oh my god. Another guy writes this, "Stupid games beget stupid prizes. How hard is it not to be sexist?" Well, allow me to retort. How hard is it to not be a huge fag? Because that's what you sound like when you claim that this tweet about this chick's stupid jacket was sexist. Barstool Sports is supposed to be a place for bawdy talk, sports talk, cracking jokes, having a good time, having, a Bella Danger in to talk about what she can fit inside of her asshole. It's not woke stool sports, all right? Let's leave that bullshit to Deadspin, please. When I'm taking a shit, I want to read about smoke shows with big tits, and I want to see someone who, if they're wearing a stupid leather jacket, I want to see them get made fun of. So, Barstool, please leave the woke bullshit to the jerk-offs over at Deadspin, and I guess in summary, what I'm saying to anyone who got mad about this guy's comment are, suck my dick. Oh my. Phlegmy cough. And the good news for you listening at home is that you'll get to enjoy all of this because I do not do any editing in post-production. So that's all going into the episode. You can contact customer service if you have a problem with that. Yeah, I was really getting irked by the Barstool comments section this week. They were getting my Irish up, which is difficult because I'm Italian. But their comments on another blog post kind of infuriated me. I guess it came up, and this always comes up from time to time, and I have some pretty strong opinions on this. But the question is it appropriate for a grown man to wear a jersey? And my sort of hard and fast response to this has always been, certainly not after your early 20s, and if you do, then the two sort of benchmarks that the jersey has to meet, it either has to be hilarious, like wearing an Adrian Peterson jersey to pick your kids up from daycare, or it has to be like very, very vintage, like an old Bart Starr jersey, or like a fucking Gary Carter, or fucking Ozzie Smith or something like. If I see a guy wearing an Ozzie Smith jersey, I'll probably be like, hey, that's a sweet jersey. If you got like an old Bart Starr sweater on, that's pretty badass too. But if you're 35 and you're wearing a Daniel Jones jersey, you are just a complete asshole. Football jerseys, and I played football forever. I know how a football jersey fits when there are no shoulder pads on. They do not fit well. They wind up smelling kind of weird after a couple hours because of the material in them. And you just look kind of pathetic walking around with a too big football jersey on over your jeans. It's just not a good. We're talking a lot about fashion. This is a fashion and football podcast this morning, and I just don't think that it looks very good. And I think it also says I'm not confident enough in any of my own achievements, so I have to live vicariously through a 22-year-old who makes more money and gets better pussy than I do. That's like the thought that goes through my head when I see a Jersey guy. When I see him walking around Hoboken with their girlfriend on game day on the way to Village Poorhouse or Wicked Wolf or whatever, you can kind of note the disappointed look on the face of the young woman who's walking with the guy, and you're like, oh, you can tell she's like, I'm gonna have to drink a fucking half keg of Bud Light to bring myself to the point of banging this schlub after he spent the entire afternoon destroying his erectile function with pumpkin ales and buffalo wings. But yeah, don't worry, honey. You can take out your jackrabbit after he passes out and knock the edge off those Sunday scaries all by yourself, or swipe me up on Bumble. I'll come over and eat the fuck out of that pussy. I'll put a little. If buffalo wings are your thing, baby, I'll throw a little Frank's Red Hot on that mug and give it a licking. So the comment section, though, the Barstool comment section, a lot of jersey wearers in the Barstool comment section. They do not disagree. They do not agree with my feelings on the matter. Their top two comments were regarding where it is acceptable for a grown man to wear a jersey. Fantasy draft and games. Only two locations for me. And the other guy says, during games, whether you're there or the bar or home, and fantasy. Jesus Christ. They're both complete fucking jerk-offs. And I can tell you that because they both mentioned fantasy football, and fantasy football is for jerk-offs. If you play fantasy football, I don't care how great a guy you are, you donate to charity, you got a huge cock, you're a world champion. If you play fantasy football, you are at least a little bit jerk-off. It is one of the biggest jerk-off activities on the planet. You get to root for one team. You don't get to fucking... If your team is playing against... I'm a Cowboys fan. They're playing the Falcons this weekend. So, Julio Jones, obviously a guy you want on your fantasy team if you're a fantasy football guy, because he's just one of the greatest receivers ever. If I was a fantasy guy and I had Julio on my team, I would have to root for Julio to score touchdowns against the fucking Cowboys while I want them to win. This is the stupidest fucking thing in the world. Fucking fantasy guys are the biggest fucking... Oh, no, but we have a draft, and we have a buffet, and we do this. Guess what? You can do all of that shit without playing your stupid little fucking homo fantasy game. But both of I will say, if you kind of peel back the onion on their comments, both of these guys alluded to the fact that a jersey probably shouldn't be worn at all. So they know it. They love it. It's almost like one of those like Christian conservative guys who sucks a lot of cock on the side and is no, I don't know. That's probably not even a good analogy. Yeah, there's something else because those guys are hiding it completely, and these guys are proud of it. This would be like some guy who loves to suck cock. Yeah, sorry. Throw that one away. I was just riffing and trying to work up a bit in my head, and it didn't work. I will go. I'll go whip my backside with a belt buckle later on to atone for the sin. But they alluded to the fact that a jersey should not be worn, but they wouldn't go all the way with it because they're clearly jersey wearing guys. So they had to give themselves an out. And for them, that out is game day, when I guess in their mind, the rules of society are just washed away. No, I'm sorry. Game day is not an excuse. Like I said, you walk around Hoboken, and you will see nothing more cringy than these drunk guys in a too big NFL jersey that hug their beer gut. They're watching football. It's almost like the article of clothing is indicative of the personality of the guy wearing the clothing. Because on the right person, like an athlete playing a sport, a jersey is a fine article of clothing, right? You go to a baseball game and you see some slugger up there with huge arms, and they're busting through the thing, and he's got fucking jacked up quads and huge glutes, and he's like it's like Jack Parkman from Major League when he shimmies his ass in the batter's box, and the chicks in Cleveland get all wet in the panties, and they want to get double teamed by him and fucking Rick the Wild Thing Vaughn, and they're gonna wind up getting AIDS because of that whole Charlie Sheen thing. But I feel like when you see a jersey on some fucking, we've all been there. You go to watch a game at somebody's house or at the bar, and there's just some fucking asshole there who won't stop screaming, "That's pass interference! He's holding!" Like 3 minutes into the first quarter. That's always a jersey guy. And you're always like, yeah, I would like to see that jersey on you. You know what? I'd like to see it covered in your blood and brain matter after you've been struck about the head with a lead pipe. It's just never... No one cool is ever wearing a fucking... Outside of the hip-hop community, no one cool is ever wearing a jersey. Here's another guy who says, "Men who have an issue with another man's clothing can't stand taller than 5'5". Get a life." Ooh, sorry. Absolutely false. I am 5'8", 5'9", if we're talking about Bumble. And from my observations, the kinds of guys who do wear jerseys are the ones without lives, right? Look, I support my teams. I have hats, I have t-shirts, I have hoodies. I have, if you can see behind me, I have right here, I'll pull it off the shelf for you. This is, if you're watching on the live stream or the camera, this is a nice old Dallas Cowboys football. It's got some dog tooth holes in it. I've had to rescue it many times from many of the different pooches who have come through my life. I love my Cowboys fluffy football. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I have the fucking Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders on my wall over there. I got a Cowboys hat over there. I have more Dallas Cowboys shit in this apartment than you could fucking count. You know what I don't do, though? I don't walk around wearing a fucking Dak Prescott jersey, all right? You're not gonna see me on my my Christmas list this year. Tell my mom that I want a nice Chidobe Awuzie jersey, all right? Love Chido Awuzie, one of our defensive backs, but you're not gonna see me wearing his fucking jerseys. Yeah, it's hard to describe, right? It's almost I don't know if is it intangible, the word, or is it like a gut feeling? You know when it's about to snow and you're outside, but you're not a meteorologist, so you can't explain why it's about to snow, but you just know it. You just know your brain is sort of conditioned to say, "Oh, these circumstances tell me that it will snow," but you could in no way could you explain the science behind it. I feel like that's like jersey guys are like that. Guys who wear jerseys are the kind of guys who say things like, "Well, you can't spell elite without Eli," and because they heard that on The Fan one day, and they actually believe that such a phrase is a legitimate argument in support of a player's elite status. Man, I'm adding all sorts of sound effects to this thing today. Yowza. And yes, they are also the kind of morons who believe that a quarterback's worth is equal to the sum total of his Super Bowl wins, and then they get very annoyed when you tell them what that means about Joe Flacco and Dan Marino. But also, like I said, they are on the dumber rung of professional sports fans. They're the same guys who will say things like 27 rings while they're wearing a fucking Aaron Judge jersey. In short, they are complete fucking assholes. Look, if you want my advice, if you want to be a jersey guy, here's what you do. Take the jerseys you used to wear. I think that got it. Hopefully there will be no more coughing, but probably. Take those jerseys, frame them, and hang them in your man cave. Because if you're a jersey wearing guy, I have to assume that you have a man cave, because most jersey guys, I feel like their understanding of masculinity only extends as far as light beer commercials will allow. So hang the jerseys in your man cave, hit the gym, get yourself a nice set of shoulders and arms, then get a good fitted T-shirt of your favorite team. And if you have a favorite player, look, they have great T-shirts that have like funny shit with like players now, and they're not like those old crummy ones they used to make in the 90s. They're like actually decent, cool fucking T-shirts. A lot of them have like a vintage look to them. Get one of those, maybe get yourself a hat, and then quit acting like a fucking asshole at the bar on Sunday, and then maybe, just maybe, your girlfriend will stop running across town during her lunch break to bang that personal trainer she met on Tinder because she couldn't put up with 16 weeks of beer and fantasy football taking the punch out of your Pekka. Alright? Pekka. Well, hat tip to my good friend Lyle Chipperson. But yeah, fuck Jersey guys. I can't fucking stand Jersey guys. Get the fuck out of here. What's next? Oh, yes. More football. Sexy football stuff. Moving on. I love this hot blonde flight crew controversy. Or really, non-traversy, as we say. If you are on an NFL team, you get to wear a jersey every Sunday. A right that you have earned. And as a result, not only can you wear that jersey, but hot chicks will still want to bang you. And many of those hot chicks, I don't know if you guys watch like Hard Knocks, you always get to see the player's girlfriend. Many of those hot chicks will be young and blonde, which I suspect is why the NFL has been packing its charter flights with young blonde flight attendants, which, between you and me, perfectly logical practice, right? Everyone wants a hot young blonde flight attendant, but of course, again, the year 2020, that behavior ruffled a feather or two. This is from Yahoo News, the Yahoos over at Yahoo. If I ran Yahoo News, I would make everybody, when they came to work in the morning, I would make them punch their time card in and yell Yahoo. Sort of like a Fred Flintstone in reverse. I would use that as a motivator to make sure everyone was ready for a hard day of cracking journalism, the kind which reports on United Airlines fills its NFL and fellow sports charter flights with young, white, blonde, blue-eyed female employees over anyone else, according to a lawsuit filed Friday by 2 veteran attendants. The lawsuit alleges that the company values its workers based entirely on their racial and physical attributes and stereotypical notions of sexual allure, per the lawsuit reported by Bloomberg's Robert Burnson. The discrimination case was filed in the Superior Court of California, County of San Mateo. Oh, shout out San Mateo. What's up? NFL charter assignments discriminate, attendants say. Sharon Tesler and Kim Gilroy said in the lawsuit they tried to get assigned to work on sports charter flights. One of them is a black woman who has been with United for 28 years, the other a Jewish woman with 34 years at the company. They were told by supervisors, per the report, that they would not be assigned to them because they weren't on preferred lists based on team preferences. They later found out that the women on the lists were all young, white, and blonde, with less seniority per Bloomberg. Seniority? What am I, a fucking idiot? I need elocution lessons. Seniority per Bloomberg. So stop the fucking presses, okay? Do you mean to tell me that a plane full of young, testosterone-filled athletes prefers to be served by a fucking 22-year-old blonde chick with a nice, round, CrossFit crafted ass instead of a matronly Jewish woman or a sassy old black lady? Is that what you're telling me? Well, then color me fucking shocked. I, for one, cannot imagine why Saquon Barkley or C.D. Lamb might not want a flight attendant who reminds him of his mother or his accountant's wife. I really do not. I mean, how fucking dense do we even have to be that this story hit the like? Do people realize that when these gals are coming up and down the aisle with drink orders, they're also exchanging like Instagram handles and they're planning meetups with the players later on? Like, do people not understand that kind of shit? Like, it is widely known that flight attendants are absolute fucking freaks. They travel the world, they stay in flop houses filled with other flight staff, they party, they fuck all over the goddamn planet. If you were to look into the sexual pasts of a sampling of flight attendants, you would probably see some stuff that could have you jerking off from imagination alone for a good month without having to refill your prefrontal cortex. So, when the Cowboys are flying back from a game in Miami, they want to blow off some steam with a few young thoroughbreds. All right, they don't want a couple of old hags who have been in the flight industry since Orville and Wilbur opened up their first airplane shop back in North Kakalaki. And frankly, I don't think this is about discrimination at all. Right? I think what happened is those old broads heard all about the big hard NFL dick that their young counterparts were getting, especially in the age of Roman and Blue Chew, two companies who I hear sponsor podcasts. So if they want to throw a little cheddar my way, I'm talking about limp dicks and hard dicks all the goddamn time. But I'm assuming that you figure they're talking about being in the biz for 34 years, 28 years. It probably brought back these memories of the early 90s when these chicks were young stallions themselves, and they were squeezing in some mile-high fun with Lawrence Taylor and Herschel Walker. Maybe taking advantage of Bo Jackson's hips before they broke down, and Bo knows baseball, Bo knows football. Bo knows how to beat that pussy up. And they got a little jealous, so they said, fuck it, we'll throw up a Hail Mary and we'll file suit and see if we can get back on that plane. And maybe they saw that video of Antonio Brown getting sucked off by, what's her name? Was it Tiana Trump, that hot little coconut-skinned porn star? Ooh, she is good. I would stick my tongue up her butthole after a poop. But yeah. So they saw that, and they said, I got to get on some of that hog, and they filed suit because, big companies like the NFL hate litigation, and United hates litigation, probably, so they figure, we'll give it a crack. But hopefully, the judicial system in America does its job, and let's pray that the judge sees through their ruse and throws out the case, because, look, this is the NFL. This is the NFL, and not everybody makes the cut, okay? I mentioned Hard Knocks before. It's one of my favorite TV months of the year is August, because you get to watch Hard Knocks. And if you watch Hard Knocks, it's just something about the league that you understand. At the end of every training camp, some guys make the team, some guys make the practice squad, and some guys get cut altogether. And it's the same thing with flight attendants. The busty young blondes are going to be flying home with the Super Bowl champions because they're the best ones for the job, okay? It's just like Hey, sometimes there are tough scenes in Hard Knocks where you got a guy who's a veteran. He's been on a bunch of NFL rosters. Maybe he's got a Super Bowl ring. Maybe he's in his late 30s, and he winds up getting cut. A veteran doesn't always make the team. Your veteran defensive tackle doesn't always make the team. Neither do haggard old flight attendants. It's nothing personal. It's just business, right? You get cut from a football team. You got to turn in your playbook and your iPad. If you're a flight attendant who gets cut from the NFL charter flight, then look, you stop at the Pleasure Palace on your way home. You pick up a nice new Hitachi wand and a copy of Big Black Ball Sack 7, and go home and relive the glory days in front of your HD TV with a pillow underneath your ass cheeks while you go to town with that nice thick vibe. Then there's no shame in that. Everyone loves to jack off, even retired flight attendants. Okay, enough football. If you want more football, you can turn on your TV after this. It's Saturday in America. There's football all over the place. We got the NFL tomorrow, NFL Monday. I fucking love it. Football, baby. But moving to the diametric opposite of the NFL. A world that I know very little about, but I saw this article and I had to check it out because they are just the most ridiculous group of people on the planet. New rules for the Oscars. This is entering the final act of our little high school musical here. So let's shift from the jocks to the theater dorks. Hollywood is changing the rules for Oscars eligibility, and this is one of my favorite things in the world because every year Hollywood fucking scolds itself for not being diverse enough. So we have and they get together, and it's a big theater, a big room full of wealthy, well-dressed, but not well-adjusted people they just live outside of reality. They spend their working hours pretending to be someone else. They take themselves far too seriously, and then they get together to hand each other golden statues and just praise and lavish each other with compliments. And then, after they're done lavishing each other with compliments, the ones being complimented scold the ones that were complimenting them for not giving the statues to wealthy, famous people who happen to come from underrepresented demographic groups. I fucking love it. But I guess they got sick of yelling at each other because they are apparently changing the rules to avoid such friction in the future. And this is the synopsis here from the New York Post. Let's see what they say. Beginning in 2024 with the 96th Academy Awards, films must meet 2 of 4 standards in representation categories in order to qualify for a nomination. The categories are listed as on-screen, among the crew, at the studio, and in opportunities for training and advancement in other aspects of the film's development and release. I guess, I don't know, that includes the janitor or some shit, I don't fucking know. The on-screen represented... Really, I got a cock in my mouth here. I'm tripping over my words. The on-screen representation requirements include either having at least one lead character or a significant supporting character be from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group, having at least 30% of secondary roles be from 2 underrepresented groups, or having the main storyline theme or narrative must be focused on an underrepresented group. Underrepresented groups include women, people of color, people who identify as LGBTQ+, or people with disabilities, according to the Academy. So, if I can extrapolate here from what I just read, I guess that means if you're doing a movie like Saving Private Ryan, which is just like all straight white dudes, because I don't know if you're aware of how World War II works, but they were still kind of using like segregated platoons, so there wouldn't be, I don't think, a black and white platoon. I think they all, if I'm remembering my World War II history correctly, and if I'm not, someone please correct me, I believe they were still doing segregated platoons back then. So if you were doing Saving Private Ryan, to meet this like diversity thing, I guess you would have to include a scene that features 2 guys from the segregated black platoon who were wounded while storming Normandy Beach and are now amputees, you would have to include a scene where one of them comes out as Tran and sucks the other one's cock. I guess that's what you have to do if you want to win an Oscar. I'm not completely sure. I guess if you're doing like a crime film, you can always just drop in a scene where the protagonist gets sent to Rikers Island and gets cornholed by some bloods in the shower, and bing bang boom, you're in contention for an Oscar. That would have been an interesting addition to The Irishman, I guess. But I don't know. So that's a confusing part for me because I don't know how any of this Hollywood shit works. I don't know if it's more about cast and crew or if it's just the plot. I don't fucking know anymore. I don't even. The only reason you should even watch the Oscars, honestly, because it really is. It's just a bunch of snooty jerk-offs giving each other Dutch rudders, and the only reason to watch is when like Ricky Gervais goes up there and roasts the entire room, and their monocles and theater spectacles fucking drop and shatter on the floor, and it sounds like Stone Cold Steve Austin's walking in. But I love the Post pulled a quote from the Academy, and this to explain what was going on. So let me see this. Here's the quote. The aperture must widen to reflect our diverse global population in both the creation of motion pictures and in the audiences who connect with them. Academy President David Rubin and CEO Dawn Hudson said in a statement. And by the way, anyone who begins a sentence with the aperture must widen, I know I've been using the phrase is a complete fucking asshole a lot lately, but anyone who begins a sentence with the phrase the aperture must widen, unless they're literally giving a class on photography, anyone who uses that phrase is a complete fucking asshole. And then they finish we believe these inclusion standards will be a catalyst for long-lasting, essential change in our industry, which I have no idea. Again, I don't know anything about the film industry. I don't know how these fucking awards work. Wasn't there a movie about like an Asian family living under the stairs or whatever the fuck it was? Parasite? Didn't that win everything? Weren't they like the toast of the town? I don't know. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know if Asians count as diverse anymore because they keep getting hosed by guys like de Blasio and Yale, and they want to grade standardized tests on a curve because Korean kids are scoring higher in math and science than the Puerto Ricans, and people are for some reason stunned by that. None of this makes an ounce of fucking sense to me, but yeah, Hollywood is just fucking absolutely fucking ridiculous. Before I jump out here, I'll see if I can take a little peek ski at got some comments going on the live stream. Like I said, I'm doing things just a little bit differently today because I'm trying to get up to advance the product a little bit. Can I view the live stream? Yeah, here we are. Got some comments. I love it. Kurt Tesla, thank you. What a tapped sax showing up on a Friday. Get a clue. I almost got into 3 fights. Kurt Tesla, always. Kurt, thank you for tuning in. I see Drew Fiddler is watching as well. I always appreciate you guys tuning in. Two of my most loyal and regular viewers. So thank you so much. You gentlemen will not. If I ever do make it big or make it anything, you gentlemen will not be forgotten. So thank you for tuning in. And I see Kurt saying Parasite doesn't suck. I'll have to check it out. I'm not like a huge film guy, but yeah, I mean it won awards. So I have to assume that it's good. And as I was saying before, Asians are good at pretty much everything except for having big penises. So yeah, and driving. Terrible at having big penises and driving, but they're pretty good at a lot of other stuff. Maybe hockey. I could see them being terrible at hockey. Anyway, we are gonna. They'd figure it out eventually, and then they'd fuck us up, right? Yeah, because they're good at martial arts, so they'd figure out the ice skating thing. Yeah, and they fuck all those. Yeah, Michelle Kwan and all those chicks. Yeah, fuck Asians, baby. God damn, they are good. Okay, so we're wrapping up for today. Facebook.com/The Savage Crew if you want to watch the live stream and get in on the fun. Twitter at Mike Montone is where I spend most of my social media time. But I'm also on Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. And what's the other one? Oh, meatheadmedia.com. I tend to do a bit of blogging over there if you want to read some blog posts. And I had one more. I'm going to forget it. Well, oh, yeah. The podcast. If you want to download the audio version of the podcast, the savagecrew.libsyn, LIBSYN.com is sort of the home base for it, although it's also available at meatheadmedia.com. And if you scroll up on the Facebook page, I have like everywhere that the podcast is available, the links to everything. It's like Podbean and Stitcher and all those platforms, and I have to add them. But I've also, I'm in like Spotify and shit now too. So if you want to listen on Spotify, check it out there. iTunes, all of that shit. Please tell your friends. If you listen to this and you enjoyed it, and you have a couple friends who are just as terrible and fucked up as you are, send it to them and ask them to tell 3 friends. And then someday, maybe, people will actually listen to this fucking show. But thank you guys for tuning in, and I will we'll catch you next time. Have a great weekend. Football, baby.